Digimon Tamers has a lot of cards to go over. There are featured cards from Battle of Adventures, as well as Runaway Locomon. Strap yourselves in because there's a lot to go over here in this video as well. Gigimon returns as another red level 2, with an inheritable that simply deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less by paying 1 memory. While a previous Chessmon build was utilizing deletion based effects, this adds a little bit more oomph, but at a cost. Guilmon offers some new abilities in that your turn, once per turn when one of your Calumon or Tamers with Takato Matsuki in his name is played, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. But if you don't delete anything, gain 1 memory. All turns while you have 0 or less memory, add 2000 DP to the maximum this Digimon's DP based deletion effects can delete. I like it, and I kind of don't. I just want to buff Crimson Blaze. Growlmon likewise has the same inheritable and a when digivolving effect that deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gets buffed to 8000 DP for the turn. That's some crazy offensive ability. With wargrowlmon, this Digimon can now delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Considering if you digivolved into this to pass turn, you might have an extra 4000 DP buff added to its deletion based effect from guilmon and growlmon, which means this Digimon can almost tackle some level 6 Digimon. But if this effect didn't delete, the entire stack gains security attack +1. Largely, the gallantmon line gets a lot of new conditional effects that with Takato Matsuki can blitz into an opponent's security. The inheritable sets up your standard level 5 unsuspend effect, but this only works when you delete via effect, and the Digimon has gallantmon in its name. So for Machinedramon players, I'm sorry. But when you get to the top end, Gallantmon has a when digivolving when attacking effect that deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with 8000 DP or less. Again, with 4000 DP buffs from the Guilmon and Growlmon, that means you can most likely delete a level 6 Digimon. If you don't delete a Digimon by this effect, you get plus 3000 DP and blocker until the end of their turn. Finally, this Digimon has blocker. It's kind of strange because when you think about it, if you don't delete a Digimon, you gain blocker. But if you delete, you unsuspend with the wargrowlmon's inheritable. Something doesn't make sense to me here because you can't be offensive and defensive at the same time, unless of course, you're utilizing that Gigimon egg. Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace makes its Ace debut. A Digivolve from a red level 6 for 5 or a level 6 Digimon with Gallantmon in its name for 4 memory. This includes Gallantmon, Gallantmon X, Medieval Gallantmon, and potentially future-proofing for Gallantmon with Grani. The on-play and when digivolving effect lets you choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 15,000 DP or less, and delete them. Considering again you have Guilmon and Growlmon, this could be a lot of deletion. When attacking once per turn for every 10 cards in both players' trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. One amusing thing about this is with Megidramon Mill engines, you could technically set up an extremely large trash and blast Digivolve into this on your opponent's turn, and then attack out next turn for game. For the option card, Crimson Savior is the Tamer's option card that main plays one Guilmon or Takato Matsuki from hand or trash without paying cost. Then place this card in the battle area. Delay: all turns when an opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon is played, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Gallantmon in its name in your hand without paying cost. Again, based on the text I'm reading, it does not ignore Digivolution requirements, so you have to climb up the chain correctly. This card seems to be the most effective against players, slamming Ace Digimon down, or even the 7th grade Demon Lords. And finally, a new Takato Matsuki makes an appearance. Another 3 memory cost Tamer that start of main. If you have a Digimon with Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in its name, gain 1 memory. End of turn, you're able to warp Digivolve into a Gallantmon in your hand, ignoring the Digivolution requirements and cost by placing this Tamer, Growlmon, and wargrowlmon from trash as the bottom Digivolution cards under Guilmon. Sadly, this means that unless you have a Takato to gift Blitz, you're just doing straight Digivolving. Moving to blue cards, Xiaomon returns as a simple level 2 Digimon that your turn, once per turn when an effect plays one of your Digimon from the Digivolution cards, draw 1. This provides buffs for some decks that play from the sources, whether it be Aegisdramon, Shangpengmon, or even OG Metal Garurumon. Unfortunately for Jumbo Gamamon, the play of sources is typically on your opponent's turn. Labramon has an on-play effect that lets you tuck a Caesarmon or a level 3 Digimon under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card to draw 1. Tucking a jammer like Biomon or Betamon would be nice, considering this would turn on the inheritable of this Digimon, which gains you a memory if this Digimon has jamming. Caesarmon follows suit in that on play, and when Digivolving, you may place one blue level 3 Digimon card as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution source, which if you do, one of your Digimon gains jamming for the turn. This Digimon also has inheritable jamming. And lastly, for blue cards, Minami Uehara has an on-play effect that lets you play one Labramon or Caesarmon from your hand or one of your Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying cost. Interestingly, her Your Turn effect could very well be useful considering when a Digimon is played from the Digivolution cards. By suspending this Tamer, one of your blue Digimon gains Rush for the turn. While blue doesn't necessarily have protection against option cards, it does continue gaining support for these types of archetypes where playing from the sources can make for an aggressive push. But now it's time to move to the yellow cards with Renamon and Rika. This Renamon gives you the widest search ability of any Renamon, revealing 3 from the top and adding one Kyubimon, Taomon or Sakuyamon in name, and one Rika Nanaka or one option card with a cost of 2 or more among them to your hand, before bottom decking the rest. Like your standard yellow effects, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gains Security Attack -1 until the end of their turn. Venusmon anyone? Let's go. Kyubimon's inheritable is identical, but this Digimon joins the ranks as your typical level 4, that can play that Digimon's Tamer if it's not in play without paying the cost. Taomon is an interesting new option for the fact that it has Barrier, and a when Digivolving effect that lets you use an option card with plugin in its name, or yellow from the hand, with the cost reduced by 2. Considering you have access to powerful option cards, you also have access to cards like Reinforcing Memory Boost, which you can now play for a cost of 4 instead of 6. And finally, Sakuyamon makes another appearance, being able to Digivolve for 3 off a yellow level 5 Digimon, and also from Sakuyamon Maid Mode for a cost of 1. This Digimon has Barrier and a when Digivolving effect that gives -6000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn. Then you may use an option card with plugin in its name, or a yellow option card with a cost of 5 or less from hand without paying cost. I had to jump back to Taomon after reading this, because Taomon has no restrictions but this one does, but mainly because the cost is free. Still, putting a cost limit kind of stinks. The Your Turn once per turn effect is when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, this Digimon can't be returned to the hand or deck by your opponent's effects until the end of their turn. I have only one beef with this card, and that's where the heck were you 4 core sets ago? At times I feel like Bandai releases cards in a way that are too late to really make an impact. Can you imagine the implications during a Heavy Mirage or All Force format? But I digress, because now it's time to jump to the Rika Nanaka Tamer. This Tamer has a start of main effect where if your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory. And like Takato, you're able to do the same Warp Digivolution mechanic in a Sakuyamon. But there's 2 caveats. Unlike Takato who does it for free, Rika's Digivolution is going to cost 4. But the upside, you get to return 1 option card from trash to your hand. Meaning once you fully resolve Rika's effect, your Sakuyamon can now activate its when Digivolving effect to potentially play an option card. Winding down the discussion, there's mainly Digimon that were involved throughout the series. With Battle of Adventurers, Mephistomon is an interesting level 5 Digimon that's a fallen angel. When this card is revealed from the deck, this card is also treated as level 6. A shame though, considering Apokelmon decks are almost non-existent at this point. The benefit of being a level 6 makes it addable via the Servants of the Dark Master. Additionally, whenever this card will be played from the hand, by returning 1 Apokelmon from your trash to the bottom of the deck, reduce the play cost by 3. On deletion, if deleted by an effect, yours or your opponent's, you may play 1 Gulfmon or level 6 Digimon with the Dark Master traits from your hand or trash without paying the cost. The inheritable is when attacking, once per turn by placing 1 level 5 or lower card with Dark Masters in its text from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. Gulfmon also joins the fray, as a Digimon that can Digivolve from a level 5 with Dark Masters in its text for a cost of 3. On play and when Digivolving, by placing 1 level 5 card with Dark Masters in its text from your hand or trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, delete 1 of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Interestingly, this Digimon also has a when attacking effect that returns 7 cards from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, to unsuspend this Digimon. This appears to be an aggro component you could utilize with a Pokemon. But let's be real, why try to aggro them when you can just mill them out? And with the fact that a Pokemon is now limited, this card largely loses any major influence in my opinion. But moving to the last and final movie, Runaway Locomon, I'm going to go over 3 cards: Locomon, granlocomon, and parasitemon. Locomon has an all turns once per turn effect that when an attack target is switched, reveal the top 3 cards of the deck, place 1 parasitemon or 1 black level 5 or lower Digimon card among them as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, then trash the rest. Immediately, I have a really bad idea with Yua Mono, but I'll cook this later. Additionally, when one of your Digimon's effects adds to this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may Digivolve in a granlocomon in your hand without paying the cost. Because this Digimon is Machine Trait, it also provides some usability with Machinedramon as well, giving collision. Granlocomon has Piercing, and an on-play when Digivolving effect that places 1 level 5 or lower black Digimon card as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, before trashing the rest. End of attack, once per turn, you may play 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card with the Machine Trait from this Digimon's Digivolution cards, without paying cost. And lastly, Parasitemon has a hand main effect that lets you pay 4 memory to place this card as the bottom Digivolution card of 1 level 5 or higher Digimon. If you do, you may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and attack an opponent's Digimon with the Digimon this card was placed under. Inheritable wise, this is an all turns effect you can play this source without paying cost, but it also provides a plus 3000 TP buff. I have a really silly idea with this, but more to come on that build too. By itself it has Alliance, and you may place this Digimon under one of your other Digimon as its bottom Digivolution source. Tamer wise, Crimson Mode Ace is largely the only one I liked from the cards, because the rest feel like middle tier cards that won't see competitive play. But in regards to flavor, I love that Bandai continues providing love to the nostalgic players who remembers the movies, and more. What are your thoughts on the Digimon Tamer cards? Because next up, we're heading to Digimon Frontier, Island of the Lost Digimon. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.